Welcome back. I'm Chalice. Today is Sunday, April 18th, 2021. And I realize I'm kind of doing these videos on an ad hoc basis as things come to mind. But I had a thought, and I apologize I can't be regularly producing videos. But I did have a thought which explains why my head hurts so badly. But the thought was, throughout history, when people speak out against the current doctrine, the story at the time, or even ask questions, they have been poorly treated. They've been thrown in a dungeon. They've been jailed, ostracized, censored, murdered, even crucified. Yes, all of these things have happened. Even not even just speaking out, but your ability to threaten the power base of a ruler is also grounds to have you eliminated. Hitler's Night of Long Knives, way back then, if any of you remember that, was about removing those who could challenge him for his power, for his leadership. Those who were murdered had the distinct misfortune to be living in the same era as Hitler and having the potential to take over his rulership. And Stalin's purge of the military leaders was for the same reason. It occurred during roughly the same time, during the World War II. Hitler's long knives occurred in the 30s, and Stalin's purge was after the war began. And it turned out to be a big mistake for Stalin, because he had no more. Yes, he got rid of his potential threats to power, but he also got rid of his experienced leadership. And of course, when Hitler made a run on Russia, he had no experienced military leaders to help push back. And so Russia suffered greatly early on. If Hitler hadn't started going nuts, Hitler might have taken over Russia, and then there goes Stalin. So purging and getting rid of those who threaten the power base in the short term could end up being a very long-term disaster. And those are two more recent historical items. Going a little farther back, everybody has heard of Jesus and the story of how he was crucified. No matter what you believe about religion, there is that story, and it's well publicized, and everybody knows it. So what happened to him? He was crucified, right? Why? Because of his teachings and his beliefs. They went against the current Roman doctrine. Jesus preached against those, and he did not back down. He did not waver. He did not say, well, I have a job, so I can't stand out. No. He sacrificed his life. He died. He was crucified for his beliefs. And he would not give up on those. In fact, according to the story, he even forgave those who would crucify him, who did crucify him. So there is a lot of history of those who stand against the current doctrine, who want to question the story, get very poorly treated, to say it very mildly. It is not something that is of which any civilized or any thoughtful person can be proud. Remember back in history, where the current doctrine was that all the heavens and the stars rotated about the planet, and what happened if you spoke out, if you actually found that no, it is the Earth that is rotating through the stars? What happened when you said that the Earth was round and not flat? you were once again criticized, ostracized, ridiculed, thrown in a dungeon. See Galileo. Ask him what it's like to say what it is against what we're being told it is. For science to become doctrine is a fallacy of science. It is something that science. It is not a definition of science. Science, by definition, cannot be doctrine. So, back in the early 1900s, there was the belief that the atom did not exist. It was seriously believed in scientific circles. The science was the atom did not exist. That's the science. That was the science then. That was that was the doctrine of science. Much like we have science as a doctrine now, the science of the doctrine then was there was no atom. Now we know that there is. And in fact, the scientist who did show the existence of the atom was ostracized. And he was so fed up, he retired from science and lived on his own, away from society. But so this is why science cannot be doctrine. Because if science is doctrine, how does science know everything? How can they even claim to know enough to become doctrine? How do they know the things that they don't know yet? So this is why the definition of science is not doctrine. And to claim that it is, remember that science was claimed to be that there was no atom. Science is claimed to be that the earth was flat. So if people want to refer to this science, to which science are you referring? So we come to today. And are we any better today than we were then, even as little as 100 so years ago? One would argue that no, we have actually gone in the other direction. We consider ourselves more civilized, more advanced, more technology, more this, more that. Truth is, if you look around, people are being censored for questioning. People are being jailed for going against the doctrine. People are told they cannot use the internet. Whether or not that's doesn't get appealed is another story. But the ruling was, okay, you can watch streaming TV, but it has to be under supervision and so on and so forth. What's that? Is that America, or are we revisiting Nazi Germany? So criminalized. If you happen to be in Washington on January 6th, guess what? If you posted that on any social media, you are being tracked. You are being investigated, and you can also be snatched and thrown in jail with no due process whatsoever. I'm pretty sure any halfway decent attorney can get you out, but that's not the point. The point is it is happening. That's the point. It is happening just because you were in a place at a certain date and a certain time. No matter what you did or didn't do, you were there, you're guilty, you're done. That's what's happening. HR 350, that is in the House. Don't know it'll pass. It may not. May sit there until the next term. And that's about titling and those who would speak out against the government, who would speak out for limited government, labeling them as domestic terrorists, as violent domestic terrorists. You want to speak out against some government? You can speak out at home. No violence whatsoever. You want to go protest and carry a sign? Oh yeah, that's now going to become violent. The FBI, the head of the FBI, has made his policy for the FBI, who, by the way, going back to agencies who are unauthorized, the FBI's only jurisdiction is within the 10 square miles of Washington, D.C. For them to operate outside of that jurisdiction is unauthorized and unlawful. However, doesn't stop them, and we don't stop them either. So that's why the sheriffs are important, because they do have the authority to stop the FBI or any federal agency. So, but that's a little digression. Going back to the administrative law issue, and agencies, but this is happening, and that's recent. People also people are becoming are being deplatformed. They have been censored for posting data, evidence, actual bona fide evidence that goes against what is being told. They have been censored. They have been banned. They've been kicked off the platform. Patreon, Twitter, YouTube. Everybody's heard it, and no matter the reason, why that it happens, whether they're telling the truth or not, that it happened is a censorship we, as citizens of the United States, should not allow to happen. And we thought we evolved past that, but apparently, when those who are in power feel threatened, they gotta purge those who threaten their power with knowledge. You don't have to threaten with violence. You don't have to threaten with anything but your words. And yes, words are mightier than the sword. So you threaten with ideas, threaten with words, you will be gone. And this is where we are. You don't have to believe it, but all you have to do is look around and you'll see. I have experienced it myself. I've seen it happen personally. It's there. Anyway, those who are speaking out are being punished in one form or another. You say anything against the current narrative, not only are you socially ostracized, you're ridiculed, but you are removed from the platforms on which you did question, on which you did speak out. There are other alternative platforms, fortunately, and people are flocking there, but by and large, the government-sponsored platforms, don't expect that you'll be fairly treated. And if you want to speak out and you say anything about anything, then there are the fact checks, which are themselves sponsored by those who wish to indoctrinate you. So this is the situation where we are, and it is not new. It is not unusual. And it is something that is happening. And as a people, no matter what you think, no matter what you believe, it is something that we cannot allow, because the rights you take away from others will be those very same rights that are snatched away from you. So I'm going to sign off now. Thank you for listening. Again, my name is Chalice. I'm speaking out. And I'm saying what I'm saying, and the consequences will be what they are. So, once again, this is Chalice saying, always stay courageous.